Hello everyone, welcome to the steering team training for SI2 Cycle 2 and Cycle 3 schools. The topic of today's video is Data Update. My name is Sue Reynolds and I am president of the American Student Achievement Institute. So we'll begin with some odds and ends like we do each month. And we want to remind you again about our Indiana Conference on Learning. The date of the conference this year is February 17th, and it should be just a fabulous conference with wonderful nationally known keynotes as we've had in the past, a ton of breakout sessions featuring proven interventions that other SI2 schools have used, and also time for renewal this year. That's a special component we will be adding into the conference. Also wanted to give everybody a heads up that the learning community, we're actually going to change the name of that to the live briefing and Q&A. We thought that was a little bit more descriptive of what we're doing with that live time with you each month. So the live briefing this year, or this month, will be on October 1st at 2:30. To register for that live briefing and the Q&A, just register at that link at the bottom of the page. So www.asainstitute.org/SI2. And that will be a time for us to just give you some last minute updates on the month's activities, as well as answer any questions that you have. I will participate in that live briefing as will Tina Weissman. So we encourage your steering team to view that live briefing and to bring any questions that you might have for me or for Tina to that meeting. Also, just wanted to give you a heads up that in October there is no council meeting. So while there are steering team activities in October, there is no council discussion in October. Then in November, there is no steering team activities. There are also no steering team briefing then, and no submissions. So November is kind of a down month. And again, what we're doing in the first semester is focusing on implementing the interventions that you wrote last year and are putting into place this year. So there will be activities for the steering team to do in October. But then November is an off month. In December, we'll come back and look at those interventions that you've been implementing first semester and really help you analyze if the interventions are working and doing what you want them to do. Okay, so today we're talking about updating your school improvement data. So the submission deadline for all of your data to be updated in the online system is October 31st. So you have about 4 weeks to accomplish this task. And there are two different types of data that we will be collecting or updating. One is you'll be updating your achievement data, and then the other is that you'll be updating your root cause data. So just kind of as an overview of those two different areas, in the achievement data, remember some of that data we auto-populate. So as soon as we have state test scores and graduation rate data from the Department of Education, we will drop that data into your online system. So you don't need to worry about typing that in. That will happen automatically. So that's for all the state tests and the graduation rate. Then there are other data fields that we call the school populated data fields that you'll need to update yourselves to type in the numbers into those charts. Part of those are data fields that we require that we think that all schools that are interested in school improvement should be looking at. And of course those data fields are specific to an elementary school or a high school. And then also as a reminder, there are optional data fields that you can create yourselves if there's a test or an assessment that your school gives that you would like to monitor as part of your school improvement planning. You can go into the optional data fields and update that data, or you could even go in and create a new chart and start to enter new data. So that's the achievement data. Then the other kind of data that we're updating is your root cause data. So there's several different sections of root cause data, so I want to go over those real quickly. All SI2 schools need to do two things. One is you need to update the ASA root cause short answer questions. And actually the answers that you wrote last year will appear in there. So you just need to edit them. If the answers have changed since you did this a year ago, you'll just need to edit those answers. Also, all SI2 schools will assess whether or not they are implementing the turnaround principles. We think that those are really good things to look at to determine if your school has things that are getting in the way of achievement. So all SI2 schools will assess the root cause data in the areas of the ASA root cause short answer questions and also the turnaround principles. Then Cycle 3 SI2 schools will do surveys this year. We currently have all SI2 schools, since we just updated the system and everybody started out as a new school last year. So you are all at Cycle 2 schools, so no one will be surveying this year. Again, every 3 years we do the student survey and the parent-student survey and teacher and community surveys. So we don't need to worry about that this year or next year. We'll worry about it the year after next. And then the last section there is, depending on how you are using your school improvement plan, you may have other root cause data that you need to update. So in the SIP uses page, you indicated whether or not you're using your SIP to meet the requirements of Indiana PL 221 and other state rules and regs. You also indicated whether or not you were a priority or a focus school, and you said if you are a Title I school, so if you're a task school or a school-wide school. So if you selected one of those things on the SIP uses page, you'll also need to update the responses to those short answer questions as well. So, okay, so this month we're just doing the data updates. We're updating your achievement data, and then we're updating your root cause data. You may be wondering, okay, if we're updating the data now in October, then when is that updated data actually going to be used in the vision action process? So the updated achievement data will be used when you update your achievement goals, when your council looks at your updated data and updates your achievement goals in January. And then your updated root cause data, the council will look at in February, when they're in the process of updating your school's root causes. Okay, as always, if you have questions as you're doing this, please feel free to contact Tina. Remember, we have the 5-minute rule. We've made this joke a million times, but we really are serious. We do not want you to waste your time being confused. We know how busy you are. So Tina's at the phone waiting for you to call. If you have questions or comments or things just seem confusing or don't seem to be working right, please call Tina right away. Don't wait 5 minutes. Call her immediately. And her name and her phone number, 812-349-4142. It's on the screen, and then her email address, weissman@asainstitute.org. And unless Tina is out at a workshop, you should be able to get a call back almost immediately, unless she just answers the phone on the first ring. So, okay. So let's then look at the online system, and then that will complete this video. So let me get online. Okay. So we're looking at the online systems, and I will use this time to show you how to update the data in the online system. I'm on the process page, and just as a reminder, after I logged in, I got to the process page by clicking the SI2 process tab. One thing you might also check at this point is the SIP uses tab. Remember, if you are a title school but that's not indicated on the SIP uses tab, the system will not give you the right questions. So the SIP uses tab is where you customize the website, so it's really important that that is accurate. And again, if you have any questions about that, call Tina. So the SIP uses tab is accurate. Then we've clicked on the process tab. We come to the process page, and we've already updated the organizational structure in September. We kicked off the interventions in October. Looking ahead, you can see in December we're going to report on the progress of those interventions. But right now we're just going to spend this month with the steering team updating all of your data. So the video that we are recording right now will be in this spot, and then we will also record the live briefing in any Q&A that folks have. We suggest that you do attend that live though, because we think that participating in that discussion will spark questions that you might have that you can bring forth. Okay, so then when we get to the update section, we're updating the achievement data. I'm going to click on that entry tab, and you'll see first of all that you need to pick a year. It's most likely the data that you are using for your achievement data is data from last school year, so that we put it in as the default 2014-15. But if that's not the case, you can just do the down arrow and change the year. Then we're going to pick one of the achievement data fields to update. You can see that this school has not put in any optional data charts, so there's no optional section down here. If you have put in optional data tables, that'll appear in this section right below the required. So SI2 required, I'm just going to click on one of them. Let's go to AP Potential. And we can see again, we're asking you to verify the year, and so we're saying, okay, it's going to be last year's data. And you can see there is no data in this chart right now because I haven't put it in yet. And then I'm going to click Enter Edit. And on this chart, it just is giving me the opportunity to say, okay, in the student group, which is defined up here, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders who took the PSAT, how many were in the student group, and then how many of them, the number that met the benchmark, are likely, and the benchmark is always defined here at the top, what number met the benchmark in each of the different assessments. I'm sorry, in each of the different types of AP classes. Okay, so yeah, and then after all that data is in, you do just click Save, or Save an entry is complete, or Save and you want to complete the chart later. In the disaggregation part, remember too that, let's say if there's 30 students that all together took the PSAT in this case, but 10 of them were female and 20 of them were male, you want to do the disaggregation here, how many were in each group, and then of these 10, what number met the benchmark in biology, what number met the benchmark in calculus AB. So okay, so that's how to update those things. And one other little tip here is that when you click that the entry is complete, if I go back to the table that lists, the page that lists all the different tables, when I check that the entry is complete, a little check will appear in front of the link, in front of that assessment name. This kind of just lets you know, oh, I've already updated that table, so I don't need to go back to that. It's just for your information. Okay, so let me go back to the process page, and so that's the achievement data. Achievement data optional. If the school had put in some optional data tables, if they were doing NWEA or Terra Nova, or had some in-house assessment that they were using, we would just click here and edit those data tables the same way. Okay, then the next section we get down into RC, which stands for root cause. So on the root cause questions, the first ones you're going to see are the ASA questions. So I just click on that. And here are all the ASA root cause questions, and then the answers that you put in last year will appear there. And again, what you need to do is just to update those. Okay, so the turnaround questions, If I click on that, you'll see that the turnaround questions are all just yes or no. Are you doing these things or are you not? And again, we suggest that anywhere that you're not implementing one of the turnaround principles, that may be then a root cause for your school and one reason why maybe you're not experiencing the achievement that you would like to. So we want you to kind of check all of those, make sure that they're answered correctly, since it's been a year since you did this the first time. One other thing is that you'll notice that on the root cause data, the years, sometimes this is a little confusing. We are writing your 2000, this is not like the achievement data dates. We are writing your school improvement plan for 2015-16, the plan that you're going to implement next school year. So in this case, we want to make sure that we're saying that we're writing the school improvement plan for 2015-16. This is what's going in your 15-16 school improvement plan. Whereas with the achievement data, that had, those assessments had already passed, so we pulled up that data from 14-15. But when we're writing your plan and answering these questions for your plan, we're using the school improvement plan date, which is your plan for 15-16. Again, we know that this can be a little confusing, so call Tina if you have any questions. And then also at the end of each of the questions in the root cause section, we've told you please use data from these sections. So we'll kind of give you a heads up if we want you to go back to last year and look at data from last year, or if we're using data the way it is right now. Okay, so those are the turnaround questions. And if I go down, you can see that this school is not a priority or a focus school. So these links are not hot. Again, if that's wrong, the school could go back to the SIP uses page and change that to make these buttons live. This school has decided to use the school improvement plan to meet the requirements of PL 221. So I can click on that and I can enter the questions for those. And again, we just as kind of a heads up, if any of these questions are not answered, or if there's an issue with one of these questions, that would mean that you're not meeting one of the expectations of PL 221 or some other state requirement or rule that impacts your school improvement plan. So, okay, so that's the state rules and regs. And then this school is not a Title I school, but if it were, one of these questions would be hot. You can't be both a TAS and a school-wide school at the same time, so only one of these will be linked if you are a title school. And then finally, so that's how you update everything. It's pretty simple. We know that some of it will be time-consuming, especially as you're entering that achievement data into the tables. However, it puts all of your data in one place. It'll make it easy for your council to review the data rather than having to go to multiple websites and clicking on multiple layers to get down to the data that we want your council to look at. So the main purpose of this is just creating a nice report that your council will be able to look at in January and February to help them make decisions about your achievement goals and your root causes. So finally, always, always, always before you submit, click on the Enter Edit button, and click on the Rubric button, and this just tells you when Tina is reviewing your work what she will be looking for. So yeah, so make sure that you always check those things. Okay, so let's go back. So again, that's October. Notice that there's nothing in November, so November's a down month. And again, the main emphasis of first semester for an annual update school is to implement those interventions and do that really, really well. Then, just as a heads up, in December, we'll start to look at were the interventions implemented the way you planned for them to be implemented? And did they have the impact on adult practices the way you wanted them to have that impact? So we'll be looking at data in December to help you decide that. And then based on that analysis, you'll be able to make in-flight adjustments with your interventions. So, okay, so I think that's it. I'm going to put Tina's information back up here for a moment, and in case you have questions, you can give her a call. And don't forget to register for the live briefing and Q&A. That's on October 1st. So thank you very much, and we look forward to talking with you live on October 1st. Thank you.